Have you ever wondered why some days your groceries cost more than others, or why the job market seems to fluctuate? These everyday mysteries can be explained by understanding the economy. The economy isn't just a bunch of confusing numbers and jargon, it's a dynamic system that affects your life in countless ways. Here, we'll take a closer look at how the economy functions, from the basics of supply and demand to the complexities of inflation and GDP. By the end, you'll have a clear picture of how these economic forces play out in your daily life. Let's start with something basic but often misunderstood. When we talk about the economy, we're really talking about a system. It's a system where goods and services are produced, distributed, and consumed. Sounds simple enough, right? But the economy is a bit like a giant, complex machine with lots of moving parts. And each part plays a crucial role in how things work. So then, imagine this, you're at a farmer's market. There are people selling fruits, vegetables, homemade crafts, and baked goods. There are buyers, like you, looking to purchase those items. The interactions between buyers and sellers at that market? That's a mini economy right there. It's all about how resources are allocated, how people make choices, and how those choices impact the availability and price of goods. Now, think about that farmer's market expanding to include not just your neighborhood, but your entire city, country, and even the world. That's the broader economy. It's the sum of all these smaller interactions happening at local, national, and global levels. Pretty cool when you think about it like that, isn't it? So, how does this system work? Let's break it down. One of the key concepts in economics is supply and demand. And you've probably heard these terms before, but what do they really mean? Simply put, supply is how much of something is available, and demand is how much people want it. When demand is high and supply is low, prices go up. Conversely, when supply is high and demand is low, prices go down. It's like a dance, constantly shifting to find a balance. Here's an example. Think about the latest fashion trend, like a popular new sneaker. When it first hits the market, everyone wants a pair, but there are only so many available. That high demand and limited supply push the price up. Over time, as more sneakers are produced and the initial excitement fades, the supply increases and the price typically goes down. And next, let's talk about markets. A market is any place where buyers and sellers come together to exchange goods and services. This could be a physical location, like our farmer's market, or a virtual space, like an online store. Markets can be for tangible items, like cars and clothes, or intangible things, like stocks and bonds. Another thing to consider is money. Money is the lifeblood of the economy. It's what people use to buy goods and services, and it's what businesses use to pay their workers and invest in new projects. But money isn't just cash. It includes things like bank deposits, credit, and even digital currencies like Bitcoin. Understanding how money flows through the economy can give us insights into everything from inflation to employment rates. Speaking of which, let's touch on inflation. Inflation is when the prices of goods and services rise over time. A little bit of inflation is normal and even healthy for the economy. It encourages spending and investing rather than hoarding cash. But too much inflation can erode purchasing power, making it harder for people to afford everyday items. And deflation, or falling prices, can be just as problematic, leading to decreased spending and investment. You see, employment is another critical piece of the economic puzzle. The economy creates jobs, and jobs, in turn, fuel the economy. When people are working, they earn money, which they spend on goods and services. This spending drives demand, which encourages businesses to produce more, creating even more jobs. It's a positive cycle, but it can also work in reverse during economic downturns. Now, let's get into something a bit more technical but very important: gross domestic product, or GDP. GDP is one of the primary indicators used to gauge the health of a country's economy. It represents the total dollar value of all goods and services produced over a specific time period. Essentially, it's like a scorecard for a country's economic performance. A growing GDP usually means a growing economy, while a shrinking GDP can signal trouble. But GDP doesn't tell the whole story. For instance, it doesn't account for income inequality or the environmental costs of economic growth. That's why some economists and policymakers are starting to look at other measures like the Genuine Progress Indicator, GPI, or the Human Development Index, HDI, which take into account things like quality of life and sustainability. Besides, an economy is influenced by a range of factors, including government policies, technological advances, and international trade. Governments play a big role in the economy through fiscal policies, like taxation and spending, and monetary policies, like controlling the money supply and interest rates. These policies can help stabilize the economy, promote growth, and reduce unemployment. And let's not forget about technological advances. Innovations can drive economic growth by making businesses more efficient, creating new industries, and improving living standards. Think about how the internet revolutionized communication and commerce, or how renewable energy technologies are transforming the energy sector. Now, speaking of international trade, this is a major component of the modern economy. Countries trade goods and services with each other to benefit from each other's strengths. For example, a country with a lot of fertile land might export agricultural products, while a country with advanced technology might export electronics. Trade can boost economic growth, create jobs, and lower prices for consumers. But it can also lead to challenges like trade deficits and job displacement in certain industries. What's more, it's important to understand the role of financial markets. These are places where people buy and sell financial assets, like stocks, bonds, and currencies. Financial markets facilitate the flow of money and help allocate resources efficiently. They also provide opportunities for people to invest and grow their wealth. However, they can be volatile and risky, and they play a significant role in the overall stability of the economy. Also, let's talk about the importance of consumer confidence. When people feel optimistic about their financial future, they're more likely to spend money, which fuels economic growth. Conversely, when confidence is low, people tend to save more and spend less, which can slow down the economy. This is why you'll often hear news reports about consumer confidence indices. They're a key indicator of economic health. So, how does all this affect you? Well, understanding the economy can help you make better financial decisions, whether you're planning your career, investing in the stock market, or simply budgeting your monthly expenses. It can also help you understand the news and public policy debates, giving you a clearer picture of how decisions made at the national and global levels can impact your daily life. And next time you hear terms like inflation, GDP, or supply and demand, you'll know exactly what they mean and why they matter. You'll be better equipped to navigate the financial world and make informed choices that benefit you in the long run. Besides, being informed about the economy can also empower you to advocate for policies and changes that improve economic conditions for everyone. Whether it's supporting education and training programs, pushing for fair wages, or advocating for sustainable practices, understanding the economy gives you the tools to be an active and engaged citizen. After that, let's remember that economies are not just about numbers and charts. They're about people. Every economic decision affects real lives, from the price of groceries to the availability of jobs. By staying informed and engaged, we can work towards an economy that is more fair, inclusive, and sustainable for everyone. Well, that's a lot to take in, but I hope this overview has made the concept of an economy a bit clearer and more approachable. Remember, the more we understand about how the economy works, the better we can navigate it and make it work for us. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.